So our opponent's gone ahead and taken a mulligan. We're going to be doing that as well. Not having any reanimate type of effect. Clear mulligan to 6. Here we have 2 reanimate effects. Plus a way to get this Chancellor into the graveyard. So, yep, I think we definitely keep. We can use the Lotus Petal to play the looting and then reanimate Chancellor on turn 1 if we would like. So I'm going to put this reanimate on the bottom, and we're going to reveal our Chancellor of the Annex. So that's going to make it so the first spell our opponent casts, they're going to have to pay an additional 1 mana, or else it is countered. Pretty unique effect. And then if we are able to get this Chancellor onto the battlefield, any spell our opponent casts costs an additional 1, essentially. Or else it's countered. So it looks like it's just going to be a Flooded Strand and a passing of the turn. And that may be because our opponent is worried about running into the Chancellor effect. And so for that reason, they elected not to cast something. It could also be to hold up Force of Will, essentially, because Force of Will still cost 1 mana with the Chancellor trigger. In any case, I'm going to go for the Faithless Looting. Put this Chancellor in the graveyard. Along with... Question is, what is the other card we want to put in the graveyard? I think it's probably just another Faithless Looting. This way, if our opponent does have multiple counterspells, we still have multiple reanimation ways of getting this card back. The only thing we're really worried about is something like a Swords to Plowshares, if our opponent is playing like a blue-white control deck, because that would exile the Chancellor. I guess also Terminus, but maybe our opponent isn't playing the Miracles deck. So here's a Gladecover Scout, and now our initial Chancellor trigger is going to combine with this one. So this Gladecover Scout is actually going to be countered no matter what our opponent does. Was not expecting to see Gladecover Scout. I will definitely admit that. Collective Brutality, okay. So we can use that to kind of get a better idea what our opponent's playing. I think I'm just going to use it as for the duress effect. So we see it's basically Legacy Bogles. And it looks like our opponent's just going to scoop them up. Not seeing Legacy Bogles. So, in this matchup, probably still want the duresses. Although, this matchup is probably pretty bad, actually. Just trying to think about how we interact with a huge Slippery Boggle or Gladecover Scout. Well, Collective Brutality doesn't seem great, so I think I'm just going to swap those for Duresses since our opponent has mostly auras. Iona could be pretty good if we're able to get it down early enough. It's probably better than Sire of Insanity. Because we're on the draw. Also, Elish Norn is probably cuttable. Yeah, I'm just going to cut the Elish Norn. It's probably not going to be killing a Boggle, because the Boggles will get too large. So, this hand doesn't have a reanimation spell, but it does have the Faithless Looting. It does have Chancellor. It's basically a reanimate away from being a great hand, so I think it's worth the risk to keep this. We're on the draw, and we have a looting, so we have at least 3 immediate draws towards one of our 12 hits. We didn't see any counter magic out of our opponent in the first game, but that doesn't mean they don't have any. So we could also just think about hard casting Bristlebrand, which is weird because it doesn't come up that often. But if we had one more land, we could hard cast Bristlebrand in this situation. I still think we probably just want a Faithless Looting and try to hit a reanimation spell. And there's Reanimate itself. So we found what we were looking for there. I like going for Dark Ritual, just in case our opponent has Daze. Or Flusterstorm even. I think we could get around Flusterstorm. If our opponent has Force of Will, then more power to them. But it looks like this Gristlebrand is coming into play, which is, of course, exactly what we wanted. I'm going to go ahead and activate. Was looking for basically a reanimation spell that wasn't reanimate. And we found reanimate, so a little bit unfortunate, but I think we want to just go ahead and cast this Collective Brutality with the 2 mana still in our pool. We can't cast the Reanimate, of course, because we would just lose the game to it. Well, actually, that may not be true. So we could Dark Ritual here, find the Sire of Insanity, and also Collective Brutality our opponent, gaining 2 life, going up to 7. Yeah, that seems great if we're able to pull that off. So I'm going to Dark Ritual. That's going to bring us up to 4 mana. Okay? Now, Collective Brutality. So this is going to bring us up to 7. Although, wait. Crap, this plan does not work. I don't think... Now I'm just remembering we boarded out the Sire of Insanity. Oh well. I guess I just burned a Dark Ritual for nothing? Maybe? So Sure, I'll discard this excess Gristlebrand. Collective Brutality our opponent, see what's going on there. So our opponent's going for the Brainstorm, but it's of course going to get countered. And we see Containment Priest in our opponent's hand. So, that's not great. And Slippery Boggle, okay. So, we can cast the Entomb, but I don't... Oh, never mind. We kept the Sire of Insanity in our deck, so we can put the Sire into the graveyard and then reanimate it, going down to 1. Whew. Close call there. And this was turn 1. And now our opponent is just dead, so that's going to be the